Hi everyone, I'm Carrie Way and I'm a theater mom. I'm hoping this channel can be a resource for other theater parents as they support their child. And if you're a theater kid, you can consider this channel a resource for you as well. This week we are talking about theater etiquette. I will cover things that have to do with the audition and rehearsal process and also how to be a good theater patron. These are things I've learned as a theater parent, but I also put this question out to my friends on Facebook. I asked my friends who are theater directors or stage managers to weigh in with their pet peeves. I got some great responses and I can't wait to share them with you. A quick note, normally when I film these videos, I phrase everything as though I am talking to theater parents. Today, I'm still talking to you theater parents, but I'm going to phrase things a little differently. In some places, I'm going to be speaking directly to the actor, and that's because so much of today's information is great for anyone, not just theater kids. So that's why I'm going to phrase things today as though I'm speaking directly to the actors. So if you're a theater parent, you can either take this information and tell it to your child, or feel free to have your child watch this video with you. Okay, our first section is going to be talking about audition etiquette. One of the top things that many directors said to me was that they would like you to be honest on your audition sheet. If they are asking for your conflicts, check your calendar carefully. Be sure to list any possible dates that you won't be able to attend rehearsal. The folks handling the casting deserve to have full knowledge of your availability when they're making their decisions. It's not fair to the cast or other people auditioning if you aren't honest about these dates. And adding new dates after you are cast makes scheduling a nightmare for the director and the stage manager. When you're working with a large cast and people each add a new date here or there, it can really begin to add up. Also, someone else might have had better availability, but they were cut from the show to give you your spot. Be honest about what roles you are willing to accept. Don't put any if you know you're only going to accept the lead. The director will remember you the next time you audition for them if they offered you a role and you turned it down. Be open to an ensemble role. Help your child understand how fun the ensemble can be. Often kids fixate on a particular role, but being a part of the ensemble usually means your child will be on stage more than if they were in a principal role. Plus, it's great experience. They will really grow as an actor because being in the ensemble usually means learning lots of choreography and playing multiple characters during the show. Keep in mind you are auditioning from the moment you enter the audition building until the moment you leave the parking lot. Be kind and gracious to everyone you encounter. You never know when you might cross paths with someone again. The world of community theater is very small. And parents, be realistic about what your child can handle. Trying to balance rehearsals for more than one show at a time can be very taxing on the entire family. We tried it once and that was enough for us. We look carefully at auditions and make sure we only audition for shows that work with our schedule. We avoid overlapping. Your child likely can't do something like competitive dance and community theater. Both of these activities are huge time commitments with similar rehearsal schedules. It's the same thing with sports. So help your child reflect on what they really want to do, and you may have to make some tough choices. Trust the director's casting decisions. They want your child to look good and they want what's best for the entire production. Help your child realize that many things go into casting decisions. If they didn't get the part they wanted, it wasn't because they aren't talented. They just need to show up and do their best. The next time they audition for that director, the director will remember your child was a hard worker. Never make excuses for your performance or argue with the director. If you are sick, they will know this. You don't need to tell them. Do your best and they will respect that you tried. If you make a small mistake towards the beginning of your song or monologue, it can sometimes be okay to politely ask to start again. Only do this once though. My daughter once blanked on the lyrics to her song. When the piano began, she just stood there. The pianist was kind enough to call her over, and she glanced at the words. She knew them well and had practiced and practiced. She just let her nerves get the best of her. She was able to regroup and begin again. The director will likely notice if you make a mistake, but they will also notice how well you're able to get back on track. Directors know that performers make mistakes. They want someone who can stay in character and recover quickly. All right, now we're going to move on to the rehearsal section. Always aim to arrive 15 minutes before rehearsal begins. This gives your child time to get where they need to be, get organized and settled, and maybe even have a minute to socialize before the rehearsal begins. Also, if there are any traffic hiccups, you should still make it before rehearsal starts if you were aiming for 15 minutes early. This has saved us many times.
Work outside of rehearsal.
When you're working on a show, it is a team effort. If you know you are supposed to be off book by a specific date, make sure you're working towards that. Practice your songs or choreography at home. A show will only come together if everyone is working hard to make it a success. Your castmates will not think it's cute when you need to ask for your lines for the 4th rehearsal in a row.
Stop it. Get some help.
And they won't appreciate having to run that dance number 3 extra times because you didn't practice on your own. No! Be kind to the production team. Appreciate all the people who are working hard to make the show happen. Without them, there is no show. So listen and follow directions when the lighting and sound designers are talking. And when the props manager tells you not to touch the props unless they are yours and being used in a scene, they mean it. I see this especially in my daughter's high school productions. There might be people in leadership positions who are younger than you. If someone younger than you is asking you to keep quiet backstage, do it. Yes, you are older than they are, but they are just doing their job. Respect what the crew is telling you and don't argue with them. Help the sound person have an efficient mic check. If they tell you to say the alphabet, do so at the same volume level you'll be using during the show. If they ask you to say some lines, just say some lines from the show. This isn't the time to try to be cute or funny. Everyone just wants to get the mic check over with so they can move on with their lives. Also, keep in mind a mic is only as good as what you put into it. Many school and community theaters are working with ancient microphones. Project, even if you're wearing a mic. The world of community theater is very small. Directors talk to other directors. Musicians tend to work throughout the community at various theaters. The point is, if you get a reputation for being difficult to work with, it will get passed around. Wouldn't you rather have people talk about what a hard worker you are or how you're always prepared? That's the type of reputation that will get you cast in future shows. If your theater is looking for volunteers, do your best to help out. And if it's something your child can help with, have them do that too. Your child will learn to respect everything that goes into making the show happen when they have a hand in it. All right, this one's kind of awkward. Use deodorant and air out your dance shoes between shows and rehearsals. I have been in many a dressing room that smelled like a barn. Be kind to your castmates and do your best to smell good. If you're running late or need to miss a rehearsal, let the stage manager or director know as soon as possible. Each show has a specific way of handling this. If you are only supposed to contact the stage manager, then only contact the stage manager. If you are supposed to contact the director, then contact the director. Above all, avoid missing any dates during Tech Week if at all possible. These are crucial rehearsals. Do not add extra dates to your conflicts after the rehearsal process has begun, and if you do have to, give as much notice as possible. Pay attention to the dates you miss. Was it a choreography day? See if you can get with a castmate and learn what you missed. That way, you're up to speed at the next rehearsal. Was it a music day? Find out from a castmate what songs they went over and do your best to know your part by the time you come to the next rehearsal. Was it blocking? Again, get with someone to see what you missed. You can see why it's important not to miss rehearsals. This is going to seem like it goes against what I just said, but if you're sick, let someone know and try to wait to come back until you're well. That cough you have, imagine if it spread throughout the entire cast. How is your show going to sound come opening night? Never direct or prompt another actor. An actor never gives another actor an unsolicited note on performances. Let the director do their job and you do yours. When you are given directions, respond with thank you so the person giving the directions knows that you heard them. When you change each night, store your costumes properly. Parents, you might have to help your child with this, or at the very least, ask them about it before you leave each night. I have worked on many productions where a rehearsal or show began and a child was missing a shoe or tights. Check things each night and again at drop-off. Always clean up after yourself. Don't leave food or garbage on the stage, in the dressing rooms, or in the area where the audience will sit. Someone on Facebook related a story where a cast member ordered a pizza to be delivered during rehearsal. If rehearsal is going to run through mealtime, make arrangements to eat a substantial snack before rehearsal begins and eat your meal once the rehearsal ends. Definitely don't do something like ordering a pizza and then the delivery person has to wander through the stage area looking for you. Most directors do not want people to eat during rehearsal, so find a way to stay nourished without interrupting rehearsal or making a mess. When you are cast in a show, do not change your appearance without talking to the director first. If a set piece, prop, or costume is damaged or replaced, let the appropriate person know as soon as possible. Once the audience begins to enter, the cast should be invisible. It might be tempting to try to peek out and see how full the audience is. Don't do it. You're trying to create some drama and illusion. It's hard to take you seriously as a villain when we saw you peeking around the curtain 10 minutes ago. And this is especially important for kids. Don't talk backstage. But even the adults have a tricky time with this, especially when clearing the stage after a large ensemble number. Try to be quiet because the show is still happening on stage. And if you're on stage, don't speak unless you have a line. And be quiet during notes. It's a lot of learning to be quiet, and having worked with high school kids, it's a lifelong battle. If you're given a note, now is not the time for a discussion. Write it down, do not argue, don't explain or make excuses. Know your director. Some directors are open to some slight discussion, others are not. And read the room. Notes are usually given after rehearsal. Everyone is usually tired. If you have questions that are specific to you, wait and ask them later. Everyone wants to get their information and go home. And this one was mentioned on Facebook from a director specifically. If you think you're cute because you've memorized the whole show and you're reciting other actors' lines backstage, you're not. The director is noticing and they think it's obnoxious. Trust your costume designer. It doesn't matter whether you would wear the costume they've selected. They put time and effort into deciding what your character would wear. And here's a great positive note that I received on Facebook and an excellent way to end this section. Above all, remember to have fun on stage and in rehearsals. Leave whatever is ailing you at the door and let yourself be consumed by the show when you're in the rehearsal and performance space. Use this as an escape, and by doing so, you'll provide an escape to others. Now we're moving on to the audience section. Understand that it is often advertised that the house doors will open at a certain time. This is not strictly adhered to. In every theater, there is one person who makes the decision about when to open the house, meaning when to open the doors and let the public in. The director needs to make sure all of the cast is backstage and out of sight, and that the curtains are closed or the stage is set the way they want it before opening the doors. They try to stick to the published time, but it's live theater and sometimes things happen. When you're a member of the audience, you should also aim to arrive well before the show begins. Many theaters close their doors once the show starts and won't seat you until some sort of break. Some shows won't even seat people until intermission. If for some reason you do arrive late and you're allowed to enter on your own, do your best to wait until there's a moment of applause or a scene change to quickly and quietly go to your seat. Be realistic about your child's age and their attention span. Realize that going to see a live show at the theater is not the same as at a movie. The sound during a theater production is a lot quieter than at a movie. Also, the tickets probably cost more. And if your kid is screaming during Toy Story, Tom Hanks isn't there to hear it. The actors and crew worked hard on the show. The people in the audience deserve to hear it. If your child can't sit quietly for an hour straight, they might not be ready for the theater yet. Many areas do have a theater that is specifically for young children, so try researching that. That's a great way to get your child started with theater experience. Here in my area, we're lucky enough to have theater that is specifically for toddlers. You can try explaining to your child before taking them to their first play what your expectations are and why they need to have good manners. If you do go to a show and your child's having trouble, then do the right thing and leave. Be sure that you're aware of the food policy for the theater. Some theaters have a strict no eating or drinking in the theater policy. Other theaters sell food items and you're allowed to eat in the theater. If you are allowed to eat, please, for the love of all that is holy, do it quietly. Again, this is not a movie. At a movie theater, the sound of what you are watching is usually fairly loud, so things like rappers are somewhat easy to ignore, but it's nearly impossible to stay in the moment with the actors when someone nearby is continuing to crunch loudly. I once ushered a show where a lady tried to bring in a Chick-fil-A salad. She was furious that I wouldn't let her eat it in the theater during the show. She didn't seem to understand the people around her had paid good money for the show and likely had a family member on the stage. They weren't there to listen to her eat her salad for half an hour. Be careful about talking during the show. Again, this is live theater, not a movie. Your conversation is likely to be heard in such a quiet environment. If it's a touring production or a Broadway show, those tickets cost an arm and a leg. The people sitting around you paid to hear the actors on stage, not your conversation. If it's community theater or school theater, then most likely someone sitting near you is either involved with the show or related to someone associated with the show. They're excited to see something they've worked hard on or their family member up on that stage. A quick whisper to your neighbor or a reaction to something that happens on stage is acceptable. This is live theater, not the morgue, but save conversations for the intermission and after the show. No one needs to hear what you think think the next plot twist will be, and if you can't hear something, please don't ask your neighbor what was just said on stage. By the time they explain it to you, you'll both have missed something else important. I mentioned this in the rehearsal etiquette section, but it applies to patrons also. If at all possible, avoid coming to the show if you're under the weather, especially if you're going to be coughing through the entire thing. It's distracting to the other patrons, and you're likely getting other audience members or people in the cast sick too. Make sure your phone is on silent and don't use it during the show, even for texting. The light is distracting to other patrons. Be sure you listen to and follow the theater's rules about photographs, video, and audio recordings. Theaters don't just make these rules up on their own. When theaters buy the rights to a show, the licensing company has given them specific directions about pictures, audio, and video recording. If these aren't followed, the theater could get fined. Also, many times photos are allowed. Be sure your flash is off. Oh, you think it's off? Double check before the show begins. Are you sure? Triple check. I can't tell you how many shows I've been to where someone takes a picture and the flash goes off. This is distracting for the audience, but also can be dangerous for the cast. They can't be stumbling over set pieces because they're temporarily blinded by your flash. If you're wearing a hat, take it off for the performance. Many theaters don't have stadium seating that makes it easy to see over the person in front of you. Be aware of who is sitting behind you and how you might be impacting their ability to see the show. Try to avoid using strongly scented items. Theaters are usually close quarters. Your perfume could be ruining the performance for someone else. I once sat in front of someone at a show who decided they needed to douse themselves and all of their friends with essential oils right before the show began. That show felt like it lasted an eternity. I was grateful to get out of the theater for some fresh air when it was over. This is not a sing-along. The actors might be singing your favorite song from the show. Do not sing or hum along. No one is here to listen to you. They want to hear the actors. When it's time for intermission, make note of how long it's supposed to last and be sure to get back to your seat on time. If you're late, follow the same rules about returning to your seat as I stated earlier. Wait for a break in the show, like a scene change or applause. Standing ovations are kind of a sticky subject, and there are different camps when it comes to them. The bottom line I've read is this: stand if there's an actor who particularly moved you or you feel had an exemplary performance. Or once each actor has had their bow, stand to applaud the entire cast if you found the show to be fantastic. It's not considered rude to stay seated, and you don't need to feel obligated to give a standing ovation. When the show is over, take your trash with you. Many theaters recycle the programs, so if you don't want to keep yours, see if there's a place to give it back so they can reuse it. Most community theaters are run by volunteers. This isn't the movies where someone's paid to come sweep up after you. Take a second and make sure your area is clear before you leave. Alright, I think that's everything. Let me know down below if I missed any, and I would love it if you would share this video if you found it helpful. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.